Hello, I'm Maria Hall Brown, and this is LA Currents, and we are quite literally next to the LA River, and there is in fact a current. I'm delighted to be joined today by the one, the only LA Urban Ecologist, Kat Superfisky. So much fun to be out here, and this is some place that you truly love.
Oh, it definitely is. The river is why I moved across the country to Los Angeles, and so it's my favorite place to be. So I'm thrilled that we can be talking about urban ecology and about all the great things that Los Angeles has to offer by being in the middle of the Los Angeles River. What a better place.
It's literally in the middle. All right, so what exactly is an urban ecologist, and how did Los Angeles end up with their own urban ecologist?
Well, when you think about ecology, you are essentially looking at kind of the interactions between organisms and interactions between organisms and their environment. That's what an ecologist does. When you plop an ecologist that's an urban ecologist down in a city environment, you're not just looking at the plants, the animals, the water, the soil, those kind of stereotypical environmental systems and processes. You're looking at the people that are also inherently a part of that city, and the economic and the cultural and social kind of systems and processes that are also in that ecosystem, the urban ecosystem. So the job of an urban ecologist is to not only understand, again, kind of the environmental aspects of these places that we're living in, but to really figure out how is it that those things are, connected to people and to the communities of humans that are also residing in these areas. So it's a fascinating, amazing job of really looking at these large systems and being able to identify all of these different facets and connections between them.
So ambitious plans, obviously the LA River has been part of the ambitious plan to turn it into something other than just a big cement ditch. And obviously where we are, you can tell that it's not. But there's something, as you were saying earlier, something very special about this particular portion of the river.
The river is 51 miles in total. It starts up in the San Fernando Valley, stretches all the way down to the Port of Long Beach. And so we're kind of at mile 20, 21. And this is one of the 3 soft bottom stretches of the river. And what that essentially means is that when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers came in and concretized the river, this was a portion where the water table was actually so high to the surface of the ground that the concrete wasn't able to stick. So they were able to channelize the walls and the sides of the river. But here, as you can see, it's just water. And that has allowed then plants and animals to come and thrive like it is just a normal kind of natural riparian ecosystem.
So what is here that you think is just absolutely fabulous?
Oh my gosh, everything. This is one of the best places to come and see a lot of wildlife diversity. I mean, I took a 1-hour walk the last day of the City Nature Challenge along this portion of the river and was able to catalog probably over 20 different species just in a really quick, lunch hour kind of jaunt up and down. And it's amazing to be able to see. I mean, we've got a white egret that's flying over here.
It's
There's
a little distracting.
Family of mallard ducks over there. There's tons of black-necked stilts. There's osprey that come around. So to me, the fact that I can get up out of my house, which I live just a couple blocks that way. I can walk to a place like the bike path, and I can take a quick stroll and see so many different types of plants, some of which were historically here since the beginning of time, others of which were brought in by us in our development. You see tons of different animal life. And then you're still seeing the Metrolink maintenance yard across the way. You're seeing a new bridge come in. You're seeing still kind of the urban that we have here in Los Angeles. So that's what I love about it, and that's what I love about this portion of the river, is that juxtaposition between still seeing nature, but seeing it literally in this very, very urban context.
So what's the reason why we really should make the LA River back to a more organic environment? What are, besides the fact that it's more attractive, besides the fact that there are these recreational opportunities, why is it important for us to take this action and invest all this energy to fix what may have been erroneously put into place?
To be quite honest, I am one of those people who I see nature as a human right. I see the connection that we have to spaces that are not just developed, to plants, to animals, to water, as something that literally is something that we should be allowing every single human being to have access to. You don't necessarily always see that being a reality in, again, city environments. The benefits that people get from being outdoors, from connecting to things outside of, again, concrete, steel, and infrastructure are immense. The physical, the mental, just the well-being that we get as humans from being around these kind of spaces alone is a reason to do it. Of being able to say, let's again make more symbiotic cities, not just cities that are full of, again, roadways and our kind of urban infrastructure. How can we really make sure that they are livable by plants and animals too? Because that's going to make it more livable for us as well. So being able to really, again, make sure that that we're thinking about the types of plants, animals, and ecosystems that we're creating around us as we're residing here is super, super important.
Are there specific creatures, and I'm thinking of birds in particular, that are only here, that are rare, because I've seen a few birds that you've pointed out to me before we sat down. So are there species that are remarkable and very exquisite that we have them here besides these fabulous mallards that keep flying over?
There's, yes, a huge mixed bag of a lot of different types of species. A lot of just the resident birds that you will see in kind of more urban environments, and then a lot of resident birds who, again, are coming and using this still as a riparian corridor. Then there's some interesting, especially in this area, we're in close proximity to Chinatown, and oftentimes people liberate Muscovy ducks or other kind of geese and things like that from the shops in Chinatown, and they'll come and they'll dump them in the river. So you will see kind of these very unique types of bird species that are not even flying in, they're being brought in by people. And then if you go actually a little bit further down into more of the southern portion of the river, that's actually one of the best flyover habitats for a lot of migratory shorebirds. You see that we have this kind of concrete slab underneath of us, and there's a little bit of water that's able to kind of pool up in areas, and what grows there perfectly is then algae. So you have these kind of environments where shorebirds are now using this as one of the only stopover points that they have anymore to be able to feed and get water on their way as they're migrating up and down the coast. And so this is an amazing key patch habitat where really it's kind of this interesting dynamic. If we were to change the hydrology in the river, if we were to change even this concrete slab, we could quite possibly really affect a lot of these very unique species that are even just kind of flying through a place like Los Angeles, and that they need this kind of unique urban ecology as a patch habitat along their journey.
We talked about this as well. How will you know that it's been successful, that this is now truly a river and not a flood channel?
To me, I think a lot of people would define success as maybe like a mark of, oh, we've been able to create this many open space opportunities, this many acres of open space along the river, or this many, miles of bike path. My work is much more about people and about how many people can we get to re-see the LA River as a resource and as something worth saving or worth putting time towards and worth revitalizing. To me, I will define success as the more people can look beyond just, again, that cityscape of the concrete, steel, and infrastructure and start really being able to recognize that cities have some of the best potential to be really saving the planet, that if we can really be looking at conservation here within urban areas, we can be taking care of so much of the challenges that we're faced with climate change and with everything that's kind of weighing on us environmentally. So to me, I really see that success would be just getting more people to even know that spaces like this exist,
right,
and that they can be using and loving and appreciating and advocating for these spaces as they see fit.
Well, thank you, because she is quite surprising, and surprising in a number of ways. It looks good, smells good, and what I've been able to see today has been exquisite. And if people want more information?
One of the great resources is the city's website, actually, lariver.org, if you want to learn more specifically about that. And that will then take them to a lot of other great pages of the different types of nonprofits or other kind of government agencies that have a lot more information about all of the plans and reports and projects that are happening.
Well, thanks so much. This
was
a lot of fun.
I'm glad.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on this LA Currents.